Hi guys, welcome back to the Backheel podcast. We are back for a Premier League talk, but first I want to talk about the World Cup. And we are a bit light today. We only have Phil with us. I was going to say Phil again for me and Pete, but we also have Pete here. So Phil and Pete are here, and we are just three today. I was going to say the original three, but we're not, because obviously we started the podcast with Dip. But yeah, Dip and Kev both feeling under the weather. Hopefully we'll be back for the next one.
Fingers crossed. Get well soon, lads.
Definitely.
Yeah, we missed the last after the final of the World Cup because I was feeling a bit crap. It was Christmas. I know Dip wasn't feeling particularly great leading up to it, and Kev was really ill. So we said, well, we'll just miss this week, and then we got to Monday yesterday, 2 days ago. It was Boxing Day, so we can't be bothered to film. And then we're like, we'll film yesterday on Tuesday, and then we were like, I messaged them like, boys, are we supposed to be filming this evening? They were like, yeah. I was like, I forgot. All right, I forgot. So we're filming on Wednesday at 2:00 in the afternoon before the Man City versus Leeds. That's it,
Leeds.
The Haaland derby, if you will. Or the Calvin Phillips, or the fat Calvin Phillips derby, whatever you want to.
That's crazy,
But I would like to talk about World Cup, boys. Best World Cup in your lifetime?
Yeah, definitely. And I weren't looking forward to it. I loved it.
It's for me.
No.
What's better?
It was for me.
Better,
it was.
Phil?
I remember Italia 90. Can't beat Italia 90.
I wasn't born in Italia 90, so chat comments can let me off.
For me, that was the better one. But I suppose of the last sort of 20 years, yeah, one.
I thought it was.
I'll give you that. It was a good one.
And to be fair, that final was probably one of the greatest matches I've ever seen.
Well, this is what I was going to ask. Is that the best? That's got to be the best final, hasn't it? What a final! Game. I thought first half, obviously Argentina blew him away, and I was thinking, oh well, this is it's nice that Messi had his moment, and he's going to get the World Cup. But now it's a case of sitting here for what was it? It was about 60 minutes, wasn't it? Yeah, 36 minute Di Maria scored. So it was a bit like sitting there for like another, whatever it is, 50 minutes, and just being like, well, Messi's won a World Cup now.
it seemed like it was going to be underwhelming.
And like, I just couldn't believe it. Like, what a second half France had. The fact that they turned it round, and Mbappe, it's just...
And extra time, end to end, two amazing saves at both ends, and it was crazy.
Argentina won that World Cup 3 times in that game.
Yeah, I thought it was done. And so fair play to France. The fact that they nearly did. We just could not avoid the fact he's got a cup of tea, not a mug, like a normal person. A cup of coffee, espresso. Look at him, look at you, posh boy.
Yeah, I know.
Comes over, comes out all posh and whatnot. Yeah.
Tell he got an espresso machine for Christmas, didn't he?
40th birthday, mate. Actually, you got that.
Oh yes, that's actually a point. This is the first episode we've done since you've been 40, Phil. So
happy birthday, man! And join the club.
Yeah, you're now with Phil. With Pete. Fucking hell, you're with Pete. I'm not even 30 yet, so. Sorry, boys.
What?
Yeah.
He's not even 30.
I'm 28.
Are you not?
No, I'm 28.
Oh, mate, I thought he was. Sorry.
Yeah, no, still a child.
Right.
But I'm not a child like our mate Beyblade. He's the ultimate child. But anyway, back to the football. It was the basketball sort of feel in the final. In the extra time, I thought, what a game. So done and buried. I felt so sorry for Giroud, because apparently they had a big virus going through the camp leading up to it, and Giroud was one of them that had caught it.
He would have been playing otherwise.
Well, he started, didn't he?
Yeah.
And he came off.
He would have played the full match.
When did he... he came off partway through, and I was just like, that's a shame, because that's probably his career done, his international career done now, which, for a player of Giroud's standards, which I think... I know Pete's a big fan. Phil, are you a big fan of Giroud? Criminally underrated.
Yeah,
I'd take him.
You take him for United even now, yeah.
Yeah, he's hit some amazing form.
Yeah, 41st minute yet to come off, and he's probably his final game for France. It's sad.
Do you know what? I wouldn't I kind of expect to see him still in the Euros.
It's
Not
possible.
maybe starting,
It's possible.
but being in with that squad.
Yeah,
I think
well,
we'll see him in the Euros.
You think about it, coming through their squad, yes, they've got some great players, but realistically, who's going to be that one that steps up for them now? Because Giroud's going to retire, and Mbappe's probably not going to play as an out-and-out striker like Giroud does. Benzema's already said he's done. As good as he said it on Twitter, didn't he? He's as good as done. Realistically,
need that
after
striker.
that, looking at their youngsters, their attacking threats are mainly similar builds as Mbappe. The fact they're sort of maybe more wingers and like a bit more of a free roam, like Griezmann and things. So I don't know. We could probably definitely do one more tournament. I think
Martial's not going to be their main goal scorer, is he? Let's be honest.
To have someone on the bench like that can come off, and he's not gonna. The form he's in. He's not going to completely go within 2 years. He's still going to be a reliable person to bring off on the bench, bring off from the bench if you need something, and just an impact sub.
Well, that's it.
I think he'll be brilliant.
This is it. This says everything. I've just typed in French strikers on Google, and that always pops up saying Kylian Mbappe, Olivier Giroud, Benzema. Obviously mentioned them. Griezmann mentioned him. Dembele's a winger. Koeman's a winger. That Kolo Muani, he's more of a winger. Marcus Thuram's not a striker. He's more of a winger. Martial's not going to be their top their top striker. Although weirdly on here it's still saying he plays for Sevilla, which is strange. Ben Yedder, he's not going to be the one. Fakir's a midfielder. Diaby's a winger. Payet's, Lamar, Plia. Yeah, he ain't gonna. But like, there's nobody out there that's gone right. Yeah, this is the definitive next youngster coming through for France.
No, for me, Giroud's not even dipping at the minute. He's at that second win for form as well, and he's still doing it.
Peaking,
so no matter,
I think he's on. He's peaking now. That's the thing with Giroud, and it's like.
So I think 2 years you might get him on a bit of a downfall. But as an impact sub, there won't be many better.
No, he's still not allowed to score goals.
Yeah.
So if you get the right service into him, he'll still score goals. But you can't rely on him.
We were just saying how many wingers they've got. Those wingers putting balls in to Giroud will be brilliant.
Yeah, they're going to need somebody in there. So no better than their all-time top goal scorer for France, which for me is amazing. But also, like, finally, like, Giroud's getting that recognition he deserves because for me,
he's great.
He's definitely within sort of the top. I don't know. Maybe in the last sort of 10 years, he's definitely inside the sort of top 5 or 6 that have played in the Premiership as strikers for me.
Yeah,
but he's just not been. He's just not been rated enough, and I'm like, but how? He scored so many goals for Arsenal. He scored a fair few for Chelsea. He's gone and done it at. Punch my microphone. He's gone and doing it at Milan. He's won the World Cup with France. He's just been runner-up for France at the World Cup. Like. This guy's the only, I think, is he the only Puskas winner to grace the Premier that got his goal in the Premier League?
Could be.
Which is like this is it's the touch of class that he has, isn't it?
Yeah. So he's very intelligent.
Yeah, there isn't a deal to be done there for United, unfortunately. But I take it all day long. So good.
Yeah, and he probably would suit United, actually, funnily enough.
Yeah, I've actually brought him in my save recently.
Of a manager, have you?
Yeah, okay, just because I knew he would get the goals.
Yeah, he's guaranteed goal threat. Yeah. But talking of another goal threat, Messi. I mean, the ultimate goal threat, right? What a tournament he had, by the way.
I need to eat my words about Messi.
Yeah, I'll hold my hands up. I thought he'll have a bit of a quiet tournament, and he did win player of the tournament. He probably shouldn't have been. Don't get me wrong. I don't think he was player of the tournament.
It was down to whoever won that match would have been given it.
There's so many different options about how you describe a player of the tournament. Yeah. But Messi's was still that one in that tournament where you thought, do you know what, Argentina could do anything here because they have Messi. Because Messi looked like Messi of, maybe not Messi of prime Barcelona years, but Messi of maybe sort of the downfall of Barcelona years, which was still one of the best players in the world, if not the best player of the world.
It's another fact that he scored in first player to score in every single round.
It's just mental.
And it's just like, he's the first player to do that. It was, when you think of it, it's a bit like, wow, he's record after record.
And it's just, he says he's not done, which baffled me.
He won't be done.
Yeah, I really think
I
that
thought
he
I
should have done
thought
the.
I thought he was going to walk out of the world. Obviously not of PSG, but I thought he'd come out and say, "Yeah, that was my final game."
Well, no, do you know what? I really, really, it should have been
What?
a fairy tale ending, and have your last match winning the World Cup and go. That's it. I'm done.
That's it.
I'm done in football.
Yeah.
That's it for me.
I'm done in
Like,
football.
he's 30. What is he? 36 now. Like,
Yeah.
realistically,
This is his high point.
He would still make this. He would still make the next World Cup at the age of 40. Don't not get me wrong. He still probably would because he's Argentina's talisman, the greatest player to ever play football, the greatest Argentinian of all time, all of that. But at the same time, I'm like, yeah, but you're still not going to be your peak. You might make the squad, but by then I'd be surprised if he's the guaranteed starter like he is still now.
Even if he carries on with PSG, anywhere he's going to go from now on is down because you're never going to get higher than this point in that final, scoring that goal and lifting the World Cup as captain.
I agree.
That should have been it and go. There's nothing else I can do. I cannot beat this moment. I'm done.
I can't see him being at the next World Cup. I can see him doing another Copa America.
Yeah.
But
when is the next Copa
still,
America? Because they're not always every 2 years, are they? They're a bit of an off and on.
I want to say it's.
I'll
I have to say there's one next year, actually. I'm not sure.
Oh, no,
it
is in 2 years' time. So, yeah, 20.
Compare him to Ronaldo, though. You just on this World Cup, you always felt that Messi had something in him. You didn't get that with Ronaldo. They were going nowhere with him.
As awful as it sounds, because Ronaldo is still the great inside the top 2 greatest players of all time, in my opinion. Messi's always been my GOAT, as they say, always has been. But I think it really showed how much Ronaldo's declined since he's joined United. Because if a Messi that couldn't play well at Man United would still turn it on for Argentina, whereas actually he massively hindered Portugal. Ronaldo, I fairly thought he hindered them.
At the first time they dropped him, that one match they dropped him, the first match, and they brought in a kid that smashed it.
This was always the argument at United, though, wasn't it?
This is the argument I made to you.
We were a better team.
Yeah,
a better team without him. I mean, I get he was top scorer for the season.
But you have to play.
Didn't make him a better player. Make you a better team, though, did it? Top goal scorer. The thing is, a better player.
He had to play, and he had to play regularly. If one of those youngsters got his game time, would they have managed to get those goals?
Well, this is
it. It says a lot.
If somebody like Anthony Elanga had the game time that Ronaldo had at that year, like, would Anthony Elanga now be even further ahead? Like, obviously he's dipped away from the first team, but would he still be in the first team?
Maybe
if he had been given game time. For example,
instead of now maybe considering getting him out alone. Yeah, I mean,
Ronaldo was guaranteed game time, which took away from someone else.
It says a lot that we're 10 days outside the World Cup, and when did he leave United before then? It was just before the start of the World Cup.
About
3 days, a month ago.
Yeah,
and he's still not got a club.
Still not got a club. Whereas if Messi was in that situation. He'd have been snapped up before now. I get the wages and all that kind of stuff, but there's clubs out there that'll pay that.
But I don't at the same time because if there was enough interest in Ronaldo, someone would have took him, no matter his wages. Because I'm not being funny, Ronaldo's Ronaldo. Like, he still sells shirts. If you're in the MLS, you've gone, right, okay, we can't afford his $500,000 a week. But if you offer him 400 grand, 300 grand a week, he's still probably going to take it at this point. Let's be honest.
I think that's his problem. I think that's why he's struggling, because he's not going to do that. He's not prepared to do that. He still thinks he's 26 years old in a 38-year-old's body.
But like you say, Phil,
that's
if
the problem.
Messi become available at that price and he was offered out to teams, they would go, right, well, let's see what we can do.
Yeah.
I think a lot of teams with Ronaldo have gone, to be fair, after last season, we're not interested.
He upset the apple cart at Juventus. He upset the apple cart a bit at United. I think he's tarnished his repetation.
Well, for me, he was the start of the downfall for Juventus' downfall now.
Well, someone said to me there was rumours going around about Arsenal looking at Ronaldo at one point, a little while ago. And do you know what? I know an Arsenal fan that said we wouldn't want him. We've had enough of players like that. We've got rid of Ozil. We've got rid of Aubameyang. Aubameyang,
Yeah.
we don't want no more like that. We'd rather not have him.
Yeah.
I
No
get
matter
it.
how good he is, we don't want him.
So I mean, the most likely club I've seen is the Al Nassr in Saudi Arabia. But I mean they're welcome to him because for me,
He don't want to drop to that level. He
Going
wants to play
back to
Champions
this
League.
World Cup.
You're not going to get it.
going back to this World Cup, Messi's cemented it for me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
I have to agree.
There
I have
is
to agree.
no better player than Lionel Messi, nor will there ever be, in my opinion.
I think the thing is as
It's
well, Ronaldo was
ridiculous
that
levels to
bad.
compete with.
Ronaldo was that bad. A lot of people have changed their opinions. Not only cemented, a lot of people have changed theirs.
He's definitely ruined his legacy.
Yeah.
The fact is, when he had no club and then he performed so badly at the World Cup, I don't know if I've said it on the podcast or maybe one of our other videos, but I'm still to this day I'm not unconvinced he's not done. Like he's not just like we will never see him play football ever again. And the last moment we saw of Ronaldo's greatness was him crying on the pitch and walking off like a little child and leaving his teammates his teammates dejected, just sat on the pitch. Like he walked off crying. Like I'm not convinced he's not completely done already.
Someone said to me that they really think that Messi's only staying on to break Ronaldo's records, the most goals in national goals and bits picks. That's the only reason he can. There's nothing else for him to do. Ronaldo's still got records of Messi's.
He makes
not
any
too far
difference.
behind.
I don't think it makes a difference
It makes
now.
a difference.
Messi has the World Cup. That's it.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what other records Ronaldo has. Messi has a World Cup. He also has the equivalent of the Euros. He has his Copa America. He beats Ronaldo.
Yeah.
Like, that's it. It's done. It's over. But, yeah.
It's funny you mention them two, though, because it's a
They're
video
always
that I'm
the
going to
same.
do in the future.
Sorry.
It's funny you mention Ronaldo and Messi because it's a video I want to do in the future. So maybe I'll give you a little bit of a heads up before we do it. So we've obviously discussed Messi, obviously discussed Ronaldo, top two of all time, arguably.
Yeah, well, I mean,
still,
none of us are old enough for the likes of Maradona. Maradona's probably the only other one that's going to come into it, isn't he? Let's be honest.
But as you know, I always do usually top three. So in the future, I want to know who would you throw in as a third in the mix?
I think that
At the
answers
minute-
that, hadn't I?
Yeah, I think there's one going in there.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
But it is interesting the fact that in that World Cup final that Messi shined and did well, but he had phases of where he went in that games. Yet in that game, I know Messi got man of the match, and then he gave his man of the match to Alexis McAllister. Did you see that?
Yeah.
No.
He got man of the match for the World Cup final. He gave the trophy to Alexis McAllister, and then Alexis McAllister was officially recognised by FIFA as the man of the match for the World Cup final. Because it was like they said, yeah, no, it's fine. We can make that official, and they did. So yeah, he's officially been the man of the match in the World Cup final. He wasn't. Do not get me wrong. I possibly agree that he was the best Argentina player inside the first 90.
Yeah,
I thought McAllister was unreal.
he did great.
Nothing like I've seen at Brighton. Okay, he's had a decent start to this season for Brighton, but I thought, who's this player? Where's he come from?
It just shows that the players around you, what they've done for him.
Yeah,
It's absolutely nuts.
Well, and the commentator's saying he's the clear number 10 once Messi's done, which I mean you can't
Imagine that.
can't get bigger praise. But we got to talk about Mbappe properly.
Mbappe is amazing.
He's ridiculous, isn't he?
Do you know what?
You're sorry for the guy, don't you? Just
What I loved though was I'll give credit to the way they kept him quiet because it shows you how hard it is to keep this man quiet when he goes for it.
Yeah, and he still got
Ridiculous.
yes, he got 2 penalties, but I believe he was fouled for one of them, wasn't he? And created the foul for the other one. And it's like this guy is the only I think is going to be the first thing that we've got, the first real challenger for Messi, and it was quite nice that Messi finally got his win in a World Cup final against the boy that's probably going to compete with his legacy.
There's going to be a pass on the torch between them two.
It did feel a little bit like it, but yeah, it was Messi that won it rather than Mbappe, which was weird, and that was mainly down to an Aston Villa goalkeeper.
Yeah, and
What?
The mad thing is, Mbappe is now equal with Pele for World Cup goals, and it's just like, how old is this kid?
20.
can you imagine scoring a hat trick in a World Cup final and not winning it though?
I know. The thing was, he was 22 when he equalled Pele's World Cup goals.
But
And he's got another 2 World Cups in him.
more than, I would say.
Yeah,
Oh,
at least
easy.
another. Yeah.
So he's what?
And-
He's 20. He's 24 now. Oh, he turned.
Wait,
He's turned 24 since the final.
Oh, so he was 23 then.
Yeah.
Yeah. I get it.
Yeah, he turned 24 2 days after the final. So yeah, he's 24 now. So he's got what? When he's 20. So when he's 27, I suppose it would be. When he's 27, 31. I can see him playing at 35 still.
Yeah.
So I reckon he's probably got
And
another
you
3 in
think
him.
he's the second man to ever score a hat trick in the World Cup final?
After.
Yes. I knew this was going to happen.
So Jeff first.
Hey.
Me and my mate Jeff.
But yeah, how mad is that? And it just the geezer only turned up for the last 20 minutes.
Who, Mbappe? No, see,
Yeah.
I disagree. I
He
saw,
done well.
I saw the
He
commentators
was-
and that was saying that he's had a quiet game by Mbappe standard,
But
but he didn't.
I
Everything
I
that,
think
that
he
was
done
sort
really
of
well.
building up from France, you could feel that
it went through him.
yeah, and that there was something, and like you thought, well, 2-0, they're probably dead, but at least they've had a bit of a fight in the second half, and then all of a sudden, within 90 seconds, France had scored 2. And they'd all come through
I think
Mbappe,
the
and
thing-
I'm like, well, I
think
kind of
the thing-
saw that coming, you know?
I think the thing with Mbappe, you kind of see the way he plays. For a long time, he'll try and be that supplier.
Mm.
And when it don't seem to work, he'll then try and take it on himself. And that's what he started to do.
Is that not
And
what
that was when it switched.
is that not what the world's best do though? So
Yeah.
I was talking to you about captains.
Yeah.
Is Mbappe he's a Messi style captain in my opinion.
Yeah.
Although from what I've seen, Messi's more of a captain than I ever realised. The fact of who was it that was talking? I think it was Alexis McAllister actually saying he was joking. He's got the weirdest laugh by the way, Alexis McAllister, and he was saying that because he's like gingery, and he was saying I don't like being called ginger, and when someone was taking the piss out for him in the squad, he said to Messi, and then after that day, nobody else called him ginger ever again. Because like when Messi speaks, you shut up,
Yeah.
and I'm like, imagine having that presence, just being able to just talk, and people are like, okay, because you're Messi.
That's the only good side.
And I feel like
that Pogba had.
Mbappe
I
is going to
want-
be that build one day.
Yeah, that's what I want. That was the only good side that Pogba had, and I kind of want to take that from Pogba and put that into Mbappe.
What of him being the
Look,
leader?
Whenever Pogba, he's that passionate for France, people listen to him. Those French players pay attention to him.
Oh, I
And
see what
they
you mean.
they listen to him for that.
No,
I
no.
want to take that from him and put that into Mbappe.
He's just a very good con artist, Pete. I think is the real issue, and I think they got conned by Pogba.
I think the players.
There's a better leader in Giroud than there is Pogba, mate. I tell you. Well, the fact is, he was kicking up a fuss on the sidelines before. I'm fairly sure that might have been an extra time, but he got himself booked
Yeah, he got himself booked
because he was
because the frustration kicked in.
Well, he was leading from the sidelines, and I think that
Yeah, well,
says
and
how
what
good
it was,
Giroud was.
There was a dodgy decision when
Yeah.
one of the French players went down the box,
And then he
and
got
he was
booked.
sat arguing that much. He got booked.
Whilst being a sub.
Yeah.
But Mbappe, ridiculous. What was that? There's
Yeah.
one more thing I wanted to talk to you about. Oh, one more thing that's to do with the final. Question, kind of. Is that the best referee performance you've seen since Pierluigi Collina?
I was really impressed.
I thought it was.
And
I thought the ref was fucking outstanding in the final. Like,
And I-
considering we've been bad mouthing it all this entire tournament, how
This
bad
is
the
the
referee has
thing.
been, he was phenomenal.
I think this was the thing. This ref was a really, really good level, and the rest were that bad. I think it's just shown. But
Is it that? Is it that everyone else was just that bad compared to him? I thought he was that good. This ref, which
I'll be honest. The one thing that I did pull up on straight away, that's the first penalty
yeah,
for Argentina.
yeah,
Without even, and it's very, very soft, and without even question, without even looking,
Yeah.
pen, and it was like, oh, hold on a minute, and I thought, oh, we're gonna get a dodgy ref here again.
and then you
But
watch
then
it, and
he's
you're,
kind of,
but you watch the pen, and you're like, well, it's soft, but it is a pen. It just doesn't matter
Yeah.
whether it's not like it's a
Yeah,
pen.
no, I get
It might be soft. Okay, another ref might not have given it,
yeah,
but the whole dictating of the game, like if you
he
think,
did lead that game.
if he had refereed that game against the Dutch, Argentina versus Holland, I don't think we'd have had 5 yellow cards in that entire game.
Oh no. He did.
And I thought that was something that really shown just how good the referee was. And
You could tell he was in charge.
well, they
you
were
could tell
talking
he was
about it for
leading.
the whole thing. So he didn't play really good level of being at football, but you could tell he used to play.
Yeah.
And he wasn't just a referee and played maybe a little bit with his mates when he was at school, and then the only thing he did was being a referee. Like, he played semi-pro football in Poland, I think he's from.
Yeah, it was.
Is that something that needs to happen, that we have these ex-footballers that become refs? Because it clearly works.
No, I heard a big discussion on this, and I was listening to Talksport, and Martin Keown was on there. And they had this very conversation. And Martin Keown said, could you imagine if he ended up as a full manager, full referee, managing an Arsenal match, or even an Arsenal Man United match? He said, can you imagine how many accusations would get given and how many times? He said, refs needs to be mic'd up. He said, that needs to happen.
What, if Keown had been a ref?
Say he had become a ref.
I think that's a bit of a...
No, he said, but they weren't ex-players. He said, maybe I become a ref myself and I ended up refereeing an Arsenal match. Or he goes even worse, an Arsenal Man United match. Imagine what the stuff that would be said and the bias and...
But it's bollocks that the whole conversation's dead. He's an Arsenal fan.
Yeah.
He doesn't referee an Arsenal game. It's like, what's his name? Mike Dean's a massive Tranmere fan. He would never be allowed to referee a Tranmere game. They have to tell the FA who their allegiances are to.
He said, but even
then you're not allowed to referee a game involving them or a game that could give them a result.
Yeah, he's like, if he's brought up if he managed a referee a Spurs match and he'll get stuff, and he said you're going to get that anyway. Referees get that, but it would be a lot. It would be escalated a lot more if there were a football match, big ex players.
Okay, so take away Martin Keown, an ex international. What if you have in the next year? There's going to be, I don't know, 10 maybe 20 players retiring from League Two. Half of them will go into coaching. Yeah. Half of them will leave. What about if instead of those half people that step away from football, they end up becoming referees? League Two standard, that's bloody good. That's really good. That's someone that's played football. You've played football in front of a crowd. You've played probably, arguably, more robust matches. So you're going to be able to control a game a lot more as a ref.
Yeah.
Is that not what we should be looking at now? Is League One, League Two standard players that are retiring? I don't want international footballers as refs.
It should be made as an incentive because they said he goes, oh, people don't want to do it. People don't. It's too long. The process too long. He went, no. They said people look at being a coach very early. They do coaching badges while they're still playing.
Mm-hmm. You can do your refs.
Why couldn't they do refereeing at the same time?
You can. This is something.
He was like, why don't they do refereeing badges? So when they're retired, they go, when I finish, I want to become a ref. They need to actually say, we want people to be able to do it.
Yeah, well, this is it. Because, like, Premier League level, you retire. You're on, let's say you're Nottingham Forest level. Yeah, so maybe the lowest in the league. You're still on 20 grand a week for, like, a player in the middle of that team, aren't you? 20 grand a week. Well, you're probably going to have some money set back. You're probably not going to need to work too much after that. League Two, you're on maybe 2 grand a week.
Yeah.
You're going to need to work still when you finish football. What do you do at that point? Well, refereeing's, obviously, you got your coaching. You don't get many pundits that have played League Two football.
No, they want the big names.
They want the big names. But is this the gap now that we can start actually getting better English referees by having ex-footballers in the Football League? It would be so much better, surely.
Yeah.
Than having refs that haven't played that standard or near close-ish to that standard.
I think there does need to become there needs to be a big focus on refereeing again. Just we've the level of refereeing now. VAR's come in. Before that, the level of refereeing did drop down a fair bit. We used to have some great referees in this country.
We did.
And yeah, I think it's just one of those no one wants to be a ref. And it's like, well, let's try and make it more appealing again.
Well, this is it. It's most footballers, if you can't get a job in coaching, you do your coaching badges and then you're in an area that is absolutely swamped. There is far too many people that are looking to become coaches once they retire for the jobs that are actually available.
Yeah.
Well, if it was made that it can actually be done that, hey, this can actually be this is paid enough, certainly enough for maybe past the line of part-time, maybe enough for almost full-time. The sort of, obviously when you get to the high levels it is full-time, and then we actually have a case of looking after those refs then, because they're ex-players as well. The ex-players, they're going to be pushing more for the refs to be looked after, because they've become refs. And then the players that are getting a bit older, they can then be pushing towards the refs to be looked after a bit more. And it's just, I don't know, it seems like a bit of a no-brainer to me.
I think it makes sense, especially now VAR is being used, because refs used to get a lot of criticism for dodgy little errors, big errors sometimes. But now VAR's come in, there's a lot more they can check VAR. So it's not, decisions can be changed.
But is that a case, and again, VAR, by having the VAR in, by having VAR, lots of things look worse slowed down.
Yeah.
Whereas an ex-professional will go, that's a footballing incident. Not
exactly.
a foul.
I think
he's like, or you know that one that always looks very soft, and we've gone, oh shit, that's a really soft penalty.
Yeah.
But let's say that ref's an ex-striker. He knows that even just that slightest touch of him running at top speed is going to be enough for a pen, or enough for not a pen.
Yeah.
That
I think
that makes the
make
decision
sense.
easier for them to make, because it's you've taken that.
You've experienced that.
Exactly, you've experienced it, and it's in that current sort of, you know what it's like in that moment of being like running at full speed. The slightest touch could be enough to bring you down, or you know that maybe, okay, that player's at half speed, that probably isn't enough to bring him down. No pen.
Yeah, it makes sense. Makes complete sense.
What's your take on it, Phil?
I think it's a good shout. I think I was just thinking as you were talking, then is there something that the clubs could do? So if they have an intake of players that are not going to make it, they're not going to be good enough, rather than sending them down to like the League Two route and the lower, like the real lower leagues, was where a lot of them end up. Is there not a program that they can put together that helps them develop to become a referee? Maybe.
So this is something that for me is absolutely something that the PFA should be looking at, because this is perfect for them. It would. Yeah, okay, the clubs could pay for it, but then realistically, when a player finishes, they have no allegiances to a club, and if a club then pays for, I don't know, let's say James Milner's referee, and if Liverpool pay for it, then does he have a bit more of an allegiance to Liverpool? And then it makes it, I don't know, just does it make it more complicated, because then people try and hold them accountable for things that have been made, like Liverpool need a result, I don't know. At the start of the season, Milner's referee in the Premier League. He gives a result for one team against another that's nothing to do with Liverpool, but come end of season, that then comes into play. Then he's held a bit more accountable. Whereas maybe if the PFA were paying for it, it's a bit like, okay, no one's sort of held accountable for him becoming a ref.
I still think a big thing
I see what you
is,
mean.
I still see a lot of jobs for coaching jobs. You'd never see them trying to push for referees.
No, there's so the jobs for there. It's mental. We are going to end up with 0 refs, and I'll tell you that for now. We will end up with a state in English football where we do not have enough refs to even referee at professional level. We already do not have enough refs to referee at grassroots football. The amount of coaches that have to, you're lucky.
And that's not new either. That's not new. That's been,
but about
5 years.
About 10, 15 years ago, just when I was starting to get into coaching, every game that we had probably had a ref. It was very rare that in a season you maybe have 1 or 2 games where you have to referee between you and the opposition's coach, and you'd have to figure it out, or you'd maybe get one of the parents to maybe referee and try and make it as impartial as possible. But at kids football now, there is not a single ref in pretty much your entire season. You'll be lucky if you get a ref at all.
That's crazy.
Occasionally, the club that I used to be part of, we would get a ref more, because a few years back, before I was chairman of that club, they did a program where they got players to become refs, which is very similar to what I'm trying to push for, what I think should be happening at professional level.
So you had local refs.
So there was loads of local refs for a while, but then they've all grown up. They're like 16, 17-year-olds. They've then grown up. They've got jobs. They've gone to uni. They've moved away. You know, like, we lose the refs, and that's bound to happen. But that wouldn't happen at a professional adult level. like this will stop it, because obviously you're talking once you go grassroots, where does it stop? So I know a ref near me. He referees. So what's here's that tier 8 football. So he referees Western football quite a lot, but he's just had to become a assistant referee in League 2 as well. And it's like, well, that's still a big gap. Why have we got so like that? Okay, assistant referee, yeah, okay, it's not as big, but you still got to make the right decisions, and it is still quite a big gap.
Yeah,
because we have so few refs.
Yeah,
and I don't think the people that follow football, they don't really understand just how bad it's getting. And I know, like, because we end up with the same. How many is it they're qualified in the Premier League? Is it something like 12 refs are qualified to referee in the Premier League now? Like to actually referee, and it's like, this is wrong. I feel like we should be having like maybe 30, 40 refs that are actually qualified to referee in the Premier League.
Yeah.
What's the retirement age for referees in the Prem?
I'm not sure if there is one, mate. I think you have to.
I think it's just down to choice.
I think you have to pass a fitness test.
Yeah.
Oh, right, okay. Because I know in other countries there's an age limit on them, isn't there?
I don't see the need for it, to be honest. As long as you can pass.
I don't.
As long as you can pass the fitness test.
Yeah.
I'll have a little.
That's what I was querying, really.
But yeah, that was our little. That was a little conversation I was not expecting. Not rugby referees.
Something different.
Something different I wasn't expecting. But yeah, no, like I would like. Yeah, they apparently used to have it. They used to have it at football, but they. Yeah,
I think in Italy it was 45, hence why we lost Collina so early.
Yeah, but you still have to pass. But either way, you still have to be able to pass the fitness test. So I think that's probably a fairer way. You're going to get 50-year-olds that are a lot fitter than some 35-year-olds. Let's be honest. And as long as you can keep up with play, and this is why you have the chief of refs now, which is obviously in our case for England, it's Howard Webb, innit? Who was probably our last decent ref, in my opinion. Yeah,
he was Alcalino.
He was.
United fan, isn't he?
Yeah. Well, allegedly, yes. But as we're talking about Prem, should we move to Prem, boys?
Yeah, I was about to say Premier League.
We had a great World Cup, but let's talk Prem. What do we have this weekend? We've had a few games. Liverpool won.
We've had quite a few.
Liverpool won.
Yep.
United won. So we're all happy today.
United won.
Rashford has hit some form since the World Cup, isn't he?
Rashford has hit form. He's hit.
No, I disagree.
Couple of goals.
Rashford has hit Rashford debut again. Rashford has restarted.
He's had that boost of confidence since the World Cup. I'll tell you that.
I don't know what's happened.
There's a confidence boost.
Well, I don't like saying it, but for a little while when he debuted, I'm thinking, check your shoulder, Ronaldo. Check your shoulder, Messi. Like, this player could be that good. And it's nice to see, as an England fan, it's nice to see him back. As a Liverpool fan, I hope he suffers big time. But
but I think, that's just credit to how good he is. And
I think so.
He's really shown. You can see he's enjoying it again. There's a confidence boost since the World Cup, and he's come back on. Do you know what? I could probably be one of the main men in this whole team now.
For me, he is your answer to your striker problem. I don't think Martial is.
See, for me, he's not. I don't think he is.
I like him where he is.
I think he's good enough to play as your out-and-out striker, though.
I just spend money on Tammy Abraham because he'll come back to England. He's not enjoying it there. Get him back.
I'm going to say he's just as good as Tammy Abraham as a striker.
I think he went through a period when he first got into the first team, when Van Gaal gave him his debut, that he did look like he was going to smash Rooney's record at some point. Mm-hmm. But then he kind of drifted out and he played more wide and did well. So I don't know whether that striker mentality has been kind of like not coached out of him as such, but I think, can he get you 20, 30 goals a season? I don't think so.
For a player of his standard, where he burst literally, like Mika Richards said, he burst onto the scene. No, Rashford burst onto the scene. He burst onto the scene. I think a player of that ability, I don't think you coach at just how good of a finisher and a poacher.
Maybe not. Because I just don't think.
If we ignore Abraham might be an option. After that, I struggle to think of an actual striker that might improve United. Like Ivan Toney, okay, he'd come in and do a good job, probably. There's no guarantee. But then
No,
after,
not for me, no.
but then after that, for Phil over, check out Phil's Twitch as well. He's even Tony's having issues over there at United. After that, though, realistically, you're not going to sign one of the world's top strikers,
No.
like one of the absolute best, because
Not in January, anyway.
not in January, and you're not because you're not guaranteed Champions League football.
No. Have you seen?
If you had Champions League football, I'd say maybe try and sign somebody before you give Rashford a chance of trying to be the main striker. But this is where my problem is. It's like, who else are you going to actually sign that's good enough to?
So then, if you move Rashford central,
you're going
to have to play Garnacho more often.
Yeah,
which I don't think.
I think that's a fucking
Ten Hag
fantastic thing.
Wants to do at the moment. I don't think he wants to overexpose him. I think he wants to use him in the right way. I kind of do. I kind of get it.
The only thing is
Sancho, no. Anthony, no. Alanga, no. Martial doesn't play on the left. It doesn't really work. He's more right-sided. They'd have to then go out and buy. So if you're going to go out and buy, go and buy a player that's guaranteed to score you 20, 30 goals a season.
But I'd also argue the fact of you've got very good centre midfielders. You've got good. Okay, you've only got Dallo on the right. You've got Malassi.
Wan-Bissaka played well last night.
Did he? I didn't actually see the game.
Yep.
But
I
would potentially go to a 5. Shaw was playing centre back, but I would potentially go to a 5 at the back and play with 2 strikers through the middle. Which would then suit them big time, I think, in my opinion, because then you could leave whoever your 2 strikers are. That could even be players like Fernandes, but let them have. So they start central, but they've got free roll, which is what would suit Rashford, and then play with 2 bombing on wing backs in maybe Shaw and Dallo, or Malacia and Dallo, or even Wan-Bissaka if he's going to get his form back.
I know it's only rumours at the minute, but they've said while United's in that transition at the minute with the sale, apparently. It's only going to be loan deals for January unless it's resolved before, which I very much doubt.
Well, apparently, João Felix is available according to the gossip.
Well, the thing is,
he's about going to Chelsea.
Would you be looking at trying to loan in someone like Neymar? Yeah, he's not fitting the PSG.
You ain't going to get.
Would you try and loan in someone? I'm trying to think what big players that could go into United make an impact, but only loan players.
Yeah,
Memphis Depay seems to be a name that's popped back up again.
Who? Memphis.
Memphis Depay, yeah. I think Ten Hag recently has come out and said that we are looking to buy. So I think if we need to, my dad made a point last night. He said if there's a player there that's going to get us into Europe, he's going to win us potentially a trophy, then that's going to maximise sale potential. So why not spend the money on the player? It's just who do you get in January? January's transfer window.
And again, it's a case of who's going to want to join a team that's not guaranteed Champions League football next season.
This is the big thing, because when you go and look what we've done out of nowhere, and out of absolute nowhere. I'm not sure what I feel about it, but
I feel like he's a good player. I feel like Gakpo's all right, and he'll do a good job. I just don't think he's what we needed right now. That's the more infuriating thing.
It's not a deal. I'm not sure why that or how that's come about.
I was convinced he was going United, and it would have actually made sense him joining United. He was maybe a role that would actually suited what you
wasn't
need.
One for me.
No, but
I think it's someone
you've said that he's not one that particularly rate, but he maybe would have filled that role that we're talking about.
Left.
On the left, maybe striker, even right. But he gives you another option there, and I feel like he would have suited maybe United more. With it being Dutch as well, and I don't know. It just seemed like we've looked at what United have done, and they've gone, they're about to do some business. Should we steal that? We are Liverpool after all. Should we steal that?
Yeah. The problem for me is we've got Firmino that sits just behind Nunez when he plays. You've got Salah out one side. I know we're short without Jota and without Luiz, but we're gonna have Gakpo there. How many players are we going to fit across that?
I'm not being funny. That without us having to spend money, there must be decent enough under 18s players still that we've got that would be able to come in, and Klopp might have half a chance of developing them into something that aren't even in our squad now. Why are we spending big-ish money on and taking money out of our budget for a player that we don't necessarily need? When everyone's fit, I'm not sure if we need him. It's just another one, and it's like, why are we doing this?
we don't that's the thing, we don't need to. And I've seen people saying about Louise and John not being rushed back. Well, look, when
That's
they are
fine.
back,
Yeah,
where are we gonna be fitting these?
exactly.
I tell you now, Jota will not get a game, and I think that's crazy to think that
No,
Jota
I
will
think
not
he
get
will.
a game.
I think he will. This is the problem. If anything, I actually see this as a last in, first out. I can't lie. I do. Maybe Bobby is the one that goes,
I think Bobby will end up going,
which
is a shame.
which I don't want. For the
No,
record, I wouldn't.
and-
I want Bobby to stay with us for the rest of his career.
And I can
But-
still see someone like Harvey Elliott struggling for game time, which is crazy.
But even then, we played Ox the other night. Like
Yeah,
we've
we've got him sitting there.
Yes, he prefers to be a centre midfielder, but in games where we are a bit short on numbers, he can play as one of the attacking front three.
Which
Let's
is
just
my
do
worry
that.
now. Apparently, we're looking at another winger as well. And if we're looking at two wingers, not cheap, they're going to be about another 20, 30 million at least. Gapco's cost us possible 50, they've said. You go up to 50.
37, I think, rising to 50.
Yeah. If we can spend that kind of money now,
Mm.
we're not getting Jude Bellingham.
Which
We won't spend, and that's what we need.
We need, of course we do. Of course we
And
fucking do.
We're now going to spend money on wingers that we don't really need, nearly 100 million on the pair of them, to go, well, hold on a minute. The one position, the one player that I feel he's going to see, and I still think he goes to City, there's no one's beaten City
Right,
for years.
calling it now. We're not going to sign Bellingham. I'm going to have my heart broken. Calvin Phillips is going to go back to Leeds, and
And he'll go Man City.
and Jude's going to go to Man City.
And Man City
And we're
will
going
be
to miss out.
unstoppable.
We are going to miss out on the most obvious replacement for Jordan Henderson in the world.
Yeah. We could have had him, and we've signed two players that we don't really need right now. We could have had them done and dusted.
Who was the other one we've been linked with?
Let me have a look right now, because it was this morning. I'm like,
Because
really?
the Gakpo
Another
one came out of literally fucking nowhere. I was a bit like,
Yeah.
why
It'd be
would you
interesting
miss-
to see when that's announced and the deal's done and Klopp comes out and talks about the signing, what his reasons are for the signing. Because it is baffling. It is an odd one.
It is. Like, the fact of we still have okay enough wingers. And to be honest, I'm not being funny. If we're playing him out on the left, I think Kostas is back now, our backup left back. Why are we
Yeah.
not playing Andy in front of it? Just play. I'd rather that. Play Andy as a left winger and play Kostas as the left back. Like that suits. That would still suit the way we play then. Like Andy is still plenty capable of going forwards and probably being a half decent winger. We'd probably get in most teams as a winger. Actually, he's I think probably that good enough going forward. I don't know. That seems like a silly one.
Because I've heard Navigator and Ox are both going.
And that makes more sense for us to sign Jude then, doesn't it? If Ox is going, who's one of our main centre midfielders. Naby's going, who's always just as injury prone.
Yeah.
We need
Where
another
is
centre
it?
midfielder. Jude's perfect. Oh, I don't know, Phil. At times it feels like the old days of Liverpool.
Yeah. it
And
is.
what you're
It's
currently
very-
suffering as Man United, which I've suffered with my entire life as a Liverpool fan.
Yeah.
You've had good times, mate. You've had good times.
I can't deny.
I've had it for about 3 years where it's been good times, and now it does feel like the wheels are starting to come off a little bit, and it is fucking frustrating. Very frustrating. The fact we're 4 points behind you is disgusting.
That's it, was Enzo Fernandez.
Oh, he's that's fine, Pete. You're a fucking idiot. He's a centre midfielder.
No, it wasn't Enzo. That was the last one.
Enzo Fernandez is fine. He won
but-
bloody
but-
young player of
yeah.
the tournament.
No,
at the World Cup.
there was another one I was looking at. But
that is a
they've
deal
now
I'm
said that.
okay with. That is a deal I am fine with. He's a good replacement. He probably would then be the captain. But Bellingham
I'm
is the
sure.
option. Bellingham
I'm sure there
is
is
for
another
me.
one. Oh, Bellingham, 100%.
Bellingham is the number one. You carry
Who's
on,
the other
Louis Pete.
rumour?
But
I will find this other rumour.
the fact is, we've come back to this World Cup, and nothing has happened that surprised me this week. Okay, Palace lost to Fulham, but Fulham haven't had a bad season, and that was a stonking 3-0 win for Fulham. Newcastle beating Leicester, like that's literally just feels like as we were. Like a year ago, that'd have been like fucking hell. Newcastle beat Leicester 3-0 away. This season, it's like, oh yeah, that's right. That seems about right. And then every other game has felt exactly the same as we were before the World Cup started.
Like we've never been away.
It's
I
the
love it.
weirdest shit. The only way
How,
it changes is if Leeds beat Man City tonight. But then again, I actually
Which
said that
they
I
won't.
wouldn't be shocked if Leeds beat Man City.
Well, I would, because it's now come out that apparently already, I know they're missing at least 7 players from their main squad.
Who, Leeds?
Apparently it's up to 11 players they're going to be out with tonight. So expect I hope everyone's got Haaland as their captain on Dream Team.
Yeah, well, he's obviously the inevitable top goal scorer this season. It's going to be.
The only thing I would say is, how good are Newcastle going to be? Because they're going to make signings in January.
They're not slipping out that top 4.
Go on then.
They're not slipping out that top 4.
I can't see it, but
the one player I would take now
is right. Both of you come up with 3. Darren, just have a quick think now. I might even edit it out, the little bit out. But so that's the gap. Think of your 3 players that if you were Eddie Howe, who were the 3 players you signed to improve that team. Realistic, you're not going to go out and sign Messi. In theory, you probably could go out and sign Ronaldo. But who are your 3 that actually improve their team? Like, out and improve it? Because I thought about this, and I've gone, well, do you know what? Ivan Toney going back to Newcastle, that would be a good deal. But then I've gone, that's not that much of an improvement in what they've got.
No.
Centre-backs, players that are actually available, I don't know. Maybe Maguire. We've spoken about it before on the podcast before. But then after this, I'm like, who do you sign? So for me, I'll do my 3 if that helps. I would if I was Newcastle. You look at 3 players. You look at improving your midfield to go alongside Bruno, which is I would sign Maddison and Tielemans. I would do a Leicester double. That would be an absolute guaranteed double. And then after that, I am kind of struggling to do I've come up with a decent third that I've gone, do you know what? Yeah, I can see that deal happening. Because the Cody Gakpos, the standard of players, I kind of want to be seeing they're sneaking off the big 6.
But do they need to make signings?
I've got 2
that
I would
sign. Second in the Premier League.
But they've still got to get a better squad. They've still got a better squad.
They need to improve.
Leicester didn't.
They're not going to win the league, though. This is the thing. They're not going for the league.
I don't think that they care if they're going to win the league or not. I think that they can finish top 4 with that team.
Okay, but Leicester didn't improve. They got arguably a weaker squad. Then we're in the Champions League. Yes, got out of the Champions League group stages.
So do that in the summer when you can give players Champions League football.
Tielemans is out of contract in the summer.
Yeah.
Do you sign Tielemans now, or do you wait until someone else comes in for him? On a free.
I'll go through my names in a minute.
You take him now, don't you? That's the thing.
They'd want to get a bit of money for him, surely, so I can see a deal being done there.
Madison expires the following season, I think.
Don't bother. I genuinely don't think that they need to buy anybody.
That's the thing, though, isn't it?
They've got a team.
Do you stick or twist? And it's like
stick.
But that's what I'm saying. I'm saying that I think Pete's mind, he's thinking they're going to sign a shitload of players. Which is where I'm thinking maybe signing 2-3 players is actually what they need.
I think they're going to buy Clever.
You'd hope so.
I'm just looking now.
I had a weird one, which I actually think would be a really good one for the summer for them. And it won't be this January, obviously. But Callum Hudson-Odoi signed for Newcastle on my one of my Football Manager saves I'm doing. I was like, that's actually quite a good signing. Like, I think that'd be quite good. I think that could work out quite well, actually, Callum Hudson-Odoi when he comes back off his loan.
I don't see Maguire leaving the club in January, but
no, it's just
if he was,
that's the player
I would take a loan
to.
It would be a good move for Newcastle, to be fair, but again, I don't think they'll do it.
Question: Calvin
I don't
Phillips.
think we'd let him go.
Yeah.
Would you take him at Newcastle, because he's clearly going to go at Man City now?
No.
If he's reporting back fat.
No.
No. They said he's overweight. What does that mean?
Right.
I was trying to explain this to my stepson. What does that mean? If you report back overweight, that could mean that you've actually put on more muscle than you should have done it whilst you're away. There's nothing actually suggested that he's. I've seen the ones where they put the fat filter on it.
Yeah,
there's a fat filter one going of 3 of them, and they're filters, like blatant filters. And
I don't know if it's just fitness levels, maybe.
But they said overweight. And it's like,
Yeah.
but I'm not being funny.
They must be able to measure the muscle and the fat and all that
be,
stuff.
But they must be. But they've never actually.
But the problem is
that he's overweight because he's put on so much fat to muscle volume or whatever.
When last Sunday the World Cup finished?
Yeah.
So 2 weeks before that, he was with the England squad. So what has he just come back and just piled it on since? Because he wouldn't have been overweight.
On a padded a baddie and just
because they would have been a regime over there. So it's not like he's been away for weeks.
Yeah, and it's not
he's been with the World Cup squad.
It's not if though he's gone somewhere and he's gone drinking.
No, he's been with the World Cup team.
Normally that means that normally means he has been drinking.
Yeah.
But
he's been playing.
But
he's
also,
he's
been doing more fitness than he has been. He's in a country which is teetotal anyway, so they don't have alcohol readily available like we do here.
Can you imagine?
They've all took their herbal teas over. Argentina took loads of it apparently, and it's like, what? I'll be honest. It does reek of absolute bollocks of Man City just trying to force him to go.
Do you know what? I'm talking about these Newcastle signings.
I'd still take it.
And I was thinking Tielemans, and I'm like, do you know what? I don't think I would.
Why?
I'd go a bit this. Well, first of all, I'd sign Tammy Abraham. I think he's a Premier League striker. I am.
He is obsessed.
He's not that much better than Callum Wilson. If he was,
just because he's doing well for you on Football Manager, Pete, doesn't mean he's going to do well in the Prem.
Chris would play him.
He wouldn't be.
Why not?
But yeah,
why not?
He hasn't actually been. He got the penalty for them the other day.
He's a different player in Newcastle than he was at Burnley.
But also, he's a different player than Tammy Abraham. Tammy Abraham is a closer player than Wilson. So you're basically saying Abraham over Wilson is what you're actually saying, Pete.
Possibly.
Yeah,
I think there's one main signing they'll do. They should do, and I think this is the move that he should do. Man United should have got him, and I really think they should spend big and just go get Declan Rice.
He's not going to leave West Ham for Newcastle yet, mate.
I don't know. Newcastle, they're going to be the side that are pushing for it, and West Ham, they lost again.
In January, though. Do you think?
I think if a big money deal comes along, and West Ham can take it.
So the difference is between January and summer now. Every club puts on a 20, maybe £30 million premium on their players if they've got to go in January. You're not going to be but you're not going to be spending 160 million on Declan Rice. He's good. He is not 160 million pounds worth. He might go in the summer for 120.
Yeah, but would it be 20-30 million pounds worth doing it now instead of someone like United coming along and doing it in January?
If you can guarantee Champions League football, maybe, but you're still spending 120 million pounds that you probably weren't going to spend beforehand.
I'll tell you what, if United spend 100 million on Declan Rice, I'll go and support FC United.
You're sure? You're right.
I think that
if they spend how much? Hang on. How much did you say?
100 million.
Nah, he's worth 100 million, mate.
He's easy.
Sorry.
Easy.
In today's football,
and
he's
he
worth
would
100
change
million.
your squad. He would change Man United's team.
He does. He does a lot more. Watch.
Why is he going to get you 20 goals a season?
No,
but
I think he will have a natural leader on the pitch for once.
He is your answer to get. I think he's your long-term replacement of not having Casemiro in a couple of years because obviously he hasn't got that long left. He rules out
30.
Is he? I thought he was. I thought he was like 32.
I reckon he would be.
Fernandinho was still smashing it up 36, 37 for City winning league titles.
He is a different type of player though. But yes, he isn't. So you're right. I'll give him another extra season then. So another 3 seasons.
I tell you what, you lot could play with 10 players.
For what you describe as Man United, the Man United level, Fred's not good enough. McTominay's not good enough.
Last night, Fred.
He's still not good enough level for you. It's like us playing Lucas. Yes, Lucas is a little bit of a cult hero, but he was never good enough for us.
I tell you now, you could take McTominay and Fred out, put Rice in, play with 10 men, and you would still be better.
I actually agree with you, Pete. I actually do agree with you. I think Rice is that good of a player, mate.
I think he is.
I'd take it, but I don't want to spend
West Ham
on
at bottom is because of Declan Rice.
Yeah. And it's got to the point they know he's going. That's the thing. I think they know he's going in the summer. Will they go, look, if we can get a big offer for him now, Let him go now.
He's going Chelsea, mate. But yeah, he's going in the summer.
Oh, that would gut me if he does.
He's going
Him and
Chelsea.
Mount
There's
together.
too much linkage with him to go into Chelsea. Like the fact Mason Mount's there, Mason's not going to go anywhere. He
And N'Golo Kante's going.
he doesn't have to move. Kante's going. He can stay in London. It's too much, mate. He's going to end up at Chelsea.
United should have got him.
I reckon he'll go 100 million, with it rising up to 140. That's my prediction. That depends, actually. I think they could probably get in for less than 100 if West Ham get relegated, which you never know.
I don't think they will. I think
they're only 1 point clear, mate, at the minute. And they've played the same amount of games of all the bottom three. It is closer than you think. They're only 2 points off the bottom. Southampton, you think, next game, Southampton win, Forest get a point, Wolves get a point. Suddenly, yeah, you got 6 teams down there on 15 points.
That means either Wolves or Nottingham Forest are going to be staying up because Everton have got to go down. And I can't see them both staying up if Everton have got to go down.
They've got to go down. Okay, you've heard that one there, guys. They've got to go down. For me, I kind of want them to stay because I do enjoy a little bit of a rivalry. But yes, it would I would still laugh if they did go down. I know Phil would do the same with Leeds. Like, yeah, okay, like I don't like them, but it's quite nice having a little rivalry from time to time.
Missed it. Yeah.
Whereas you'd still have a laugh if they go down, wouldn't you? So.
Yeah.
Right. I think that's just kind of caught up enough. It's like an hour-long podcast for you guys. Sorry, and if you've listened till the end, fair fucking play. But go and check out everything we've done over on Phil's channel in a minute, and we're also going to play a bit so we're going to do a quiz with Phil, I think, and we're going to do a bit of GeoGuessr over on CGH, which is something that we've not done in a long time, Pete, and we've definitely not done with Phil before, so it could be good fun.
No.
But yeah, thank you very much, guys. Thank you for that, boys.
Perfect.
Please do like, share, subscribe, and we will catch you in the next one.
Yeah.
See you later.
That's a lot of referee talk, wasn't it?
It was.
Too much.